All right. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us this afternoon for the panel. My name is Tom Green. I lead the Corteva Catalyst organization within Corteva. It's really our innovation and partnership platform, really focused on early stage innovation, early stage companies. And in that role, I have the fortunate opportunity to engage a lot of startups and the innovation community to really identify companies and technologies that are really strategic to our R&D organization, really help accelerate that pace of innovation, and really sort of move innovation from lab to the to the field and into growers' hands. And having grown up on a farm, I really understand and appreciate the role technology plays to really help growers be successful and sort of manage through some of the challenges they have on an annual basis. So really for me, that sweet spot of translation is really important. For those of you who may not know Corteva, Corteva is really one of the leading pure play ag organizations. We're headquartered right here in Indianapolis. We're a global organization, really again focused on translating technology really across a number of different technology space, seeds, germplasm, ag chemistry, biologicals, and really providing solutions for growers, again, to help them be successful. Like many in this room, we are, working on helping the growers, the farmers be successful and really solve some of the world's, growing challenges. That's, around climate, really helping growers work through a lot of challenges from a yearly influence of climate change, really trying to help growers drive productivity to sort of meet the challenges of the growing population, and also really try to fuel an energy transition with renewable fuels and really trying to drive a renewable fuels program. For us, and I think for many of you in the room, it really starts with innovation. Innovation is that lifeblood. It is that engine that fuels success. And at Corteva, we invest roughly $4 million every day to drive innovation and get innovation into growers' hands. And we're developing everything from, again, germplasm that really yields across environments, traits that really protect and protect that yield for the growers, new chemistries, new biologicals. We're really trying to think about next generation innovations and really trying to put those dollars to work to bring innovations forward to help growers be successful. And we also understand, again, this innovation doesn't happen just within the walls of our organization or other strategics. We understand that innovation is happening outside our walls, and we're really working hard to engage innovation early on and really help that pace of innovation and sort of move that innovation forward from an industry standpoint. And so as I look at the panel here, all this is why we're here. We're really thrilled to have the panel here today. From delivering technology to farmers in the field and helping finance investments in those tools, our panel is unquestionably positioned at the forefront of innovation across sectors. They'll be putting the spotlight on disruption across ag tech, highlighting how new technologies are entering the market, and exploring the needs of the most important entrepreneur, the farmer. And believe me, having grown up on a farm, farmers are very savvy entrepreneurs and businessmen and women, and they really work hard to, on an everyday. With that as a backdrop, it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator and our panelists. Moderating today's panel is Aaron Gillum, who is Senior Vice President at 50 South Capital Advisors, a leading provider of hedge fund and private equity solutions. And our panel of experts, Leo Carvalho, who is Chief Strategy Officer at the agtech software platform, Solinfotech. And I should have a better job of getting my notes together. Apologies. And Carrie Spahn, solving data connectivity challenges across the animal protein chain as CEO of IoTech Solutions. Dennis Beard is a managing partner with the venture capital firm Sarah Ventures, which focuses heavily here in the Midwest. Again, like all of us here, we know that agriculture is a priority, and certainly for our panelists, and that's why we're all here. So before I turn it over to our panelists, I want to thank everyone for joining. It's great to be here, my first year at Rally, and it's great to see the coalescing of innovation and really supporting innovation here in Indiana and really trying to impact the growers across Indiana, the Midwest, and globally. And on behalf of Corteva Agriscience, I want to thank you for joining us for the conversation today, and we're really looking forward to that conversation. And Aaron, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you for the intros. I was going to allow our panel here to give a brief intro. Just real quick, Aaron Gillum with 50 South Capital. We are basically a fund of funds, and so all that means in layman terms is that we invest in venture capital firms, buyout firms, private credit funds. I like to think of myself as like the guy behind the guy, and also doing that on behalf of the state of Indiana for the Indiana Next Level Fund, which is a $250 million fund of funds that was created back in 2018. So with that said, maybe we can just run down the line here. Leo, you want to start? And then Kari? Of course. And then Leo. If you just want to introduce yourself. Perfect.
Short?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know what length we should be doing as an introduction, but my name's Carrie Spahn. I'm the CEO of IOTA Solutions. We're a company that is turning data into informed action and increased profits for the livestock industry specifically, all with one platform. Longer? Or very good.
I'm Leo Carvalho, Chief Strategy Officer of the Solinftech. Solinftech is a company that has 17 years, and I've been in this company for more than 10 years, so I had the opportunity to track all the growth of the company. Since the company has 40 employees, right now we achieve more than 800 employees. And I was responsible for opening new markets, such as American markets, Canadian markets, and Chinese. And the last 2 of 4 rounds, the fundraising, I was leading this process. You guys know that lead this process takes a long time, and raising money in this time, it is a little bit tough. But yeah, that's all about me.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's good to see so many familiar faces. I'm Dennis Beard. I'm with Sarah Ventures, and we are headquartered right down the road, right down Interstate 74 in Champaign, Illinois. And we have offices in Chicago and San Diego and Utah. And we started out as broad technology investors back in 2010. And then with our previous fund and the new current fund, we're focusing on ag and food tech. And we've invested in ag and food tech all along, but now we're focusing in that area.
Okay, perfect. So the topic up for today is farmer innovation, and I've got a list of questions for our panel here, just to spark some good conversation. But if you have questions, maybe I'll save the last 10 minutes or so. Feel free to raise your hand, and we'll try to incorporate it into the dialogue. So just starting at a high level, a question for each of you. Can you maybe just share, based on your experiences, can you share your thoughts on like the convergence of innovation as it relates to food and agricultural technologies? Carrie, I'm going to let you start.
I get to be the go-to gal for starting, huh? Yes. Well, as maybe all of you know, we are in the hype and the beginning of the digital revolution, which is predicted to be one of the biggest changes in all of agriculture. Specifically, there's a lot of tech that's happening because nothing was happening prior to just a few years ago. And so absolutely it's necessary for the convergence of tech and agriculture for a couple of major reasons in my perspective. If you don't, you're going to not be in agriculture anymore because you're going to not be able to win. You have to take on innovation and technology to be able to survive in the future. There's no doubt about it. So that's absolutely needed. I think that those who adopt right now are showing the winning strategies, and they continue to adopt more and more technology. And it's proven that if you are adopting technology, you are going to win. The likelihood is much higher, and those that are slow are slowing down or losing. So definitely the reasons I would say it's necessary.
I agree with Carrie, and I bet with all of you guys that the word that you guys more listening here it is AI, artificial intelligence, transformation, but I believe that these are components in the middle of the transformation that you are living. This kind of the tools, it is responsible to provide more decision make, but that is not the end of the line when you talk about the farmer, when you talk about the transformation that the world is living. And I believe that these movements give us opportunity to redefine how we are producing food nowadays. Using technology, we believe that you can produce more using less. And not just this case specifically, but I believe that we are living a big crisis when you talk about the food security. If you put on the scale, food security probably is the top one in comparison by climate change. For sure, both of them, it is a big problem that the society is living, but I believe that the only way to turn this key, it is when you start to use innovation, not just specifically technology. You can say about biologicals, you can see a different kind of the innovation in ag. I was listening, Mark, talking a little bit early and start our panel, and he mentioned about that. He mentioned this. Right now in ag tech and the agricultural industry, you can see two main blocks. One it is the chemical company, and another one is OEM. And if you grab what these guys do, they are the best ones. We have 5 companies doing seeds and inputs, and you have 4 or 5 companies doing machine and the large machines. This transformation that you need probably don't come through these 2 main blocks. We know that the revenue about the ag comes through these 2 main blocks, but you believe that this transformation need to come for another kind of the company that have a different mindset. So when you make this comparison in our lives, the disruptions never comes from the traditional company. In the ag industry, I believe that's probably the new disruptive technology, the new innovation probably will come without, say, this main company. And this it is the result about the food and technology in the future.
Dennis, I don't know if you want to add.
I can always add.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first of all, to build on what these two have already said, if you think about the last 100 years, some huge innovations in ag and food. I mean, it's pretty amazing to look backwards and try to connect the dots. But I think it could be even bigger the next 50 or 100 years. We first started investing, kind of, as I mentioned earlier, broadly in technology. When we were looking at the ag space, we were seeing interesting building blocks that were coming together maybe from other types of technology like data, imaging, drones, a lot of those things. But some of the startups were struggling to make it really viable for the farmer, the producer, to put those to use to help them be more efficient and more profitable. But we think that's going to happen. A lot of this is being driven by consumers, but what we all know, everybody in this room knows, we've got to figure out how to make more food. It's got to be safe. It's got to be tasty. It's got to not harm the environment. And that's a pretty big challenge. And then the whole time, everybody up and down the chain has to at least make some kind of profit, or they won't be able to exist. So these are big problems, as Leo stated, that are needing to be solved.
When you think about the everyday farmer, there's a lot of challenges out there that they face just simply trying to grow their crops, whether it be production tools or even high interest rates, impact their business. Our panel has already started to identify some of those challenges, but I'd love to just get your opinion on what's the biggest challenge that you're seeing out there, and how are some of the technologies addressing those challenges?
So I believe that climate change it is one of them, and adoption for technology for sure is another of them. It's quite hard for a farmer right now trust in one kind of technology that provide just data or provide just map or color map and don't deliver anything, because in the end of the day, the margins compress. And the industry of the ag always take money from the pockets of the farmer. And he's the easy guy to take money because he needs to buy a machine, he needs to buy a chemical. That is the easy animal in the chain. And the challenge in this entire environment is he needs to be more profitable when he cannot control the commodity price, and the only thing that he can control is the cost. But when they decide to control the cost, they need to invest more money on this situation. And to invest more money, give them more visibility what's going on in the future. I believe that this could be a challenge for farmer, but the opportunity as well for agtech companies or the startups. Because if you can start to provide a real results for them that reduce the content of the inputs the guys using, saving money, making them more profitability, try to improve the quality of the labor, because you know that labor in US, it is a big problem as well, as a new challenge that the farmer has. So I believe that when you have the one innovation that can touch in different aspects in sustainable, profitability, labor, saving costs, I believe this could be a great opportunity for the companies as well.
I think that the producers, livestock producers, are already overwhelmed with a ton of data and technology, and they aren't using it effectively already. And so a challenge that we meet as new technology providers is they're already not using the technology they have well, and they know it. And so we have to be able to help them adopt that technology more readily, make sure the technology that we're providing, if we're bringing new technology, it is provable in, making them money and or saving them time. Those are the two biggest assets that they have on a farm. And so if you can prove those two things, you're going to get adopted, and you have to be trustworthy. If you can't push past the trust factor on a farm, you're not going to make it through the gate. And so those are the biggest things that are, I think, challenges within this industry of initial adoption, for sure.
I think these two took my notes because I don't have anything left. I think I would just add, high on our list is also trying to help people manage environmental impact and impact of climate change. And what we've been delighted to find on a couple of occasions are companies that help with the cost management and the profitability of the farm and help the environment, such as reducing the amount of chemical sprays that go on the fields, as an example, or maybe using robotics to good effect in that front also.
Yeah. Dennis, I'm going to direct the next question to you, and I'm going to also plug your new venture fund. So Sarah is an investor in early stage ag tech and food and science businesses. Can you maybe talk for a moment just about, I'd love to just let you plug your business, but I also want to hear you kind of, what is your focus? What are you guys seeing here for your newest investment fund?
Thanks, Aaron, for the commercial time here. I'll try to keep it concise. We've been investing in ag tech stuff since it was really before a category, as a lot of firms have, but we started doing investing in 2010, and initially we were just focusing on stuff coming out of the University of Illinois, and they have a strong ag program there and a strong engineering and data science program, so it was kind of a natural that we would look at those. And our view has matured as we've come along and we've watched what's going on and what some of the problems are, and I'd say we're trying to help in sort of three mega trends right now, and that is the changing consumer and their tastes and their demands, the changing growers and producers, and then people on up the chain there, and also the changing climate and the environmental impact. Those are all big issues to solve. So if we can see some solutions there, we're interested in working. We invest at the our sweet spot, I would say, is the seed plus to Series A stage of companies to write our first check then, although we wouldn't turn away a good seed stage company, at least get to know them. And we might do some first checks into a Series B as we go. And we've been really excited about being in this space. We've had, I think we've made about 35 direct investments, 36, 37 maybe now. We just signed another deal today in ag and food space, going back to our earlier funds plus our first ag fund. And then indirectly, we sponsor the Illinois AgTech Accelerator, which has made 18 investments through that, so a small slice of those companies. So we're getting to see a lot of what's going on out there. I don't know. That's probably a good enough explanation, isn't it?
Yeah, and in case you guys missed it, he's closing a deal today while he's here on stage with us.
Oh, yeah.
So kudos for that.
Yeah.
And Leo, you mentioned too. I know Sulfatech has raised, I forgot how much in venture capital funding. But maybe just talk about what's the impact of just having access to capital, especially at the earliest stages. When you think back 5-6 years ago when you guys were launching.
the most important part it is when you have a product that you can deliver real results for the farmers, the venture capital, they can understand this. They can understand that you have a product that can get scale, because these guys like this thing, scale, but the farmer likes to see the result in his pockets. For the company perspective, it is interesting because each investment that you did, that you receive, change something internally in our company. In early stage, make us able to change our business model. We start with CapEx, and right now we are SaaS model. So 100% of our savings change when we receive the first money. The second money gives us opportunity to internalize our company, open new regions, and make more progress in different regions. We were founded in Brazil, and right now we are present in more than 12 countries. So the third investments give us opportunity to develop a totally disruptive technology. We have our robots that live in the field. That is one way to rethinking the way that you are doing food right now, producing food right now. So, and the fourth investment that you are finalizing, that's give us more opportunity to scale these robots that probably will change the perspective, not just the farmer, but the industry of the egg, and more specifically the retailer. Because this gives an opportunity for a retailer, cooperatives for a retailer that's selling products, that's selling service, to rethink the business model that they are doing right now. Because right now they are focused in selling products and selling service. But when you have autonomous robots that live in the fields, you don't need anymore this kind of the service. So right now we are giving them opportunity to use their service with our products, or big farmers can go straight and buy this kind of the product. So I believe that depends of the stage of your investment that you receive, you give the opportunity for the company to thinking in different perspectives the same problem, that is produce more food.
Kerry, I'm going to address the next question to you to start. When you think about a consumer group that's probably the slowest to adopt new technologies, it's probably farmers. I'd put them up there with any other group you can think of. But it's almost required, though, in order for them to continue to manage their businesses efficiently, increase yields, increase productivity. And so when you think about, let's bring it home here and talk about Indiana as the market. What would be your advice, maybe, or how do you see agtech? Like, how do you help translate that gap, basically, in getting farmers to understand that they need to adopt these new technologies in order to stay competitive?
Well, I think you just have to speak their language and talk again about saving time, making money, creating efficiencies, helping them to meet compliance objectives and sustainability objectives, and how do they move to the next level of operational efficiency. All those things are weighted heavy on their mind every day. And if you can really show all the things that your new company is doing to help them with those things and prove it, it should have their ears and some of their money as well, I would say, is a key. For us, we were actively involved in the AgriNovus, the very first one, producer-led challenge, and we won it. And we partnered up with an Indiana farmer that had a dairy farm that had 4,000 cows, and our goal was to help them meet one of their goals, which was to increase feed efficiency. So we set out to do that by aggregating about 6 different data sources that they were relying on into our platform, and pulled it together, created insights, shared those insights and actionable solutions with their management team. They applied it over 3 months, and over 3 months' time, they were able to create about $800,000 in economic value from the insights we gave them, and they were the ones that said that. We didn't say that, and so those are the things you have to do: proof of value, proof of concept, and meet the needs that they're looking for. I think driving a product that can be a little more specific, because I think one of the challenges on a farm is they're each different, and they require something different, and having something a little more flexible to meet the needs of each individual users is probably going to be pretty important in the ag space.
Yeah. Anything to add there, just in terms of customer adoption?
No, but I've been impressed with customer adoption with some of the companies we've invested in with Indiana farmers. And I just think the environment here has really blossomed over the last few years to make it very welcoming for ag technology companies. It's a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Indiana for a moment. I'm always going to bring it back home. And maybe after this question, if there's any questions from the crowd, just start thinking of them now, and I'll bring you into the conversation. But maybe I'll start with Leo and Carrie. You know, both you two have a lot of experience working within the Indiana ecosystem. You know, you mentioned Agronovis. I know Sulfintech has partnered with the IEDC and other groups. Maybe just take a moment and just kind of talk about what your experiences have been, and think about all those partners that have helped you, for all the founders in the room that are either thinking about starting a company or have started a company. Like, what's some advice maybe that you might share as well?
Find some guys like Agronova that Carrie mentioned. It is a big shortcut. Imagine that when Solintech got in US, it was 2008. We didn't know anybody here, and I believe these guys opened a new market for us, and they suggest some people, connection, facilitates some connections between our markets and between peoples involved on this process. So that is one advice. If some founders here is listening, that try to find some people that facilitate your communication and our contacts with this kind of the markets. That is one thing. And the second thing it is, these guys can give you as well a chance for you to see your problem again, because this guy have flexibility to understand your problem, to understand what you'd like to developing, but they ask about your concepts, if you are right or not. So I believe that using the entire ecosystem, and Indiana has a big ecosystem here. Wing is another guy that it is help us a lot. They open new doors for us to have these connections and to prove our products in the field. Not just to saying that I'm a Brazilian company, I'd like to open American markets, and I believe that you can fit my product here. So that is one another thinking that I'm thinking that is interesting, Aaron, because it's almost impossible you develop some technology in ag being the middle of the Silicon Valley. If you don't put your boots on the ground, if you don't listening what your users are asking for you, probably you can develop a good technology, but without savings, without profitability. And I believe that in Indiana, we had this chance to receive some people that have adoption, early adopter for technology, in our case specifically, that would like to testing, that would like to give advice for us, that makes Solintech get attractions faster here, because they are seeing value, but they are open to receive this new innovation as well.
I would say take advantage of their enthusiasm. They are very excited about innovation and moving forward in the ag space, and it can get a little hard being a startup. And to take advantage of that energy and knowledge that they have, you talked about some of the consultants and the people that have been there, done it. Taking advantage of their knowledge and insights you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Do things so you don't, you learn from all of their mistakes first and then go do it. I think the group is amazing, and also their introductions to potential, our business model is a B2B model, so some of the Indiana big companies like Elanco are here, right? They helped introduce our company to them and others. And some of our end users as well. So all of those things are big advantages of working together with Agronovis and Indiana specifically.
Yeah. It was for them, but I'll let you chime in if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so from the investor side, we've got investors from Indiana into our fund. That's a big plus. That's a hard part of our business, is raising the fund. So check that box. We've invested in companies in Indiana that are doing well, so check that box. And we've got co-investors from Indiana into our funds, companies that we invest in. So this has been a really good environment. It kind of is that enthusiasm thing. I think this is the third conference I've been into Indiana in the last 3 months. And and just meeting more people and expanding that network, it makes us want to invest here. And that's good for the companies that are seeking funding.
Yeah. I had promised if there was any questions from the group. Otherwise, I can keep going because this is just a conversation up here. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe I'll come back to Leo and Kari. Just from a startup perspective, just thinking about you've already started to go down the path of like what you would share in terms of who you would partner with in Indiana, but maybe just more high level. Like as a startup company, for the founders here, what are a couple of like lessons learned or key takeaways, something that you want to share if you could go back in time and reinvent your company?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Maybe you don't have to go back in time. If you wanted to start a new company,
It's
I'll take
happening
that
every
too.
day,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
I have lessons learned. I'm on 10,022 right
Yeah.
now. So I think lessons learned are be really clear about your goals and what you're trying to accomplish when you go to potential new partners or users of your product. Concise value propositions are outlined, 3 to 5, and be clear to how you can best partner coming in so nobody has to think about anything. It's well thought out before you go in, and you can clearly say, here's how we can work together, and we have action steps to move forward. I think that's lessons learned in the relationships I've formed here with larger companies, especially across here in Indiana and also across the world, actually. Yeah, absolutely. It's been applied. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Leo, how about you?
2 lessons learned. The first one it is listen the market.
Listen. You said listen.
Listen the market.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can develop a nice product, a nice solution, a nice service, but if the market is not allowed to receive this technology, not prepared to receive these products, probably you cannot get traction in short term. Even that you have a lot of investment, because if you create something so disruptive and the market's not ready to receive that, probably you can fall down in short term. And that's one thing. The second thing it is, don't be falling in love with your product. If you need to stop your productions, if you need to stop your development, if you need to rethinking the way that you are doing, do that. Because we know that nowadays have a lot of technology that can come and pass through your product so fast using artificial intelligence or different kinds of the tools, and you need to rethink the way that you are doing your products. And more than this, maybe you can shut down a part of your organization and open a new vertical inside of your company. Change your mindset. So when you focus in your products, you forgot about the markets. So open your eyes for the markets and be aware, because some technology can come fast and it pass through back your products. These 2 main lessons learned that you had here.
Can I add a little bit to that?
Yeah, you can add more.
I think you made me think of when we were in the initial couple of first years of building, and we had all these producers that were using our product and telling us, we need this, we need this, we need this, and we started building all these things that everybody was willing to build, and then we went to ask them how much you would pay for that. Probably not too much. We forgot to ask that question in the beginning. And that was a big learning lesson. We spent a lot of time, wasted some money and efforts, but we don't do that anymore. We do some research before we figure that out. But those are all lessons learned for sure.
Can I build on one of those
Please.
points that was touched on? Early on, we were working with some companies that were participating in the original NSF I-Core program. And that was a 10-week program, and they charged each of the startups to talk to 10 customers every week for 10 weeks. And they had to report in weekly to what the meetings were, what was discussed. And of the 25 companies in that first cohort, and we had a company in that cohort, all of them changed their product. And it was a result of talking to the customers to find out what they wanted, how much they were willing to pay for it, what features really mattered. And maybe the researcher's dream was, the bubble was maybe burst, that this really isn't worth very much, but they really like this cheap little feature I also came up with. We saw that happen a couple of times in those companies. So talk to the customer, know the market, listen to the market. I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
Let's put one more point on top of that. So I know that's interesting, listen to the point. I mentioned that. But I believe when you have a new concept that you are 100% sure that you can disrupt the markets and you have funding for that, that is interesting when you surprise your user as well. When you talk about the iPod situation, that Steve Jobs create something that nobody asked about that is different. If the guys ask, Henry Ford said this, I believe, if he asked about his user, what they want, probably he asked a fast horse, not a cars. So I believe that when you have something disruptive, that you have good concepts, good markets, addressable markets, funding, and that return a real value for the chain, maybe it's good you take a risk as well. So just to put the opposite point as well, because half of your Solinf Tech have a technology that provide information, real-time decision, a one-border computer, and half of the Solinf Tech provide disruptive technology. So imagine that you have two different teams working the same problem that's produce more food, make the farm more efficient and more sustainable. So that is one different perspective in the top of the same problem.
Nothing like the magic when people are buying things they didn't even know that they needed.
Oh, wait, I think we got a question. Go ahead. If you can speak a little bit louder, though. Thank you. So maybe explaining the market opportunity. I think it was off of the.
When you don't have a lot of dollars to spend on it, right, in a team, yeah. How do you do research and make sure you're developing the right product when you don't have a lot of dollars in a research team to do that?
Great question. So in my perspective, I believe that proof of concept it is one thing that you can do in short money and short time as well. When you give the opportunity for the guy to use your products, and it's like a pilot product, you can provide for them a flavor about what you are developing. 3 fails, maybe we don't go for the correct place, and maybe you need to rethink about your path. But without money, it is a big treat. So I believe that's a good research, but testing in the field, it is the best solution.
What we did to supplement that, because we didn't have hardly any money in the beginning, is get the right advisors that were experienced in the field that we were targeting, and really fine-tune those guys that really know and that you trust their opinions, and build upon that first, the basics, and then take that to market and kind of expand upon that. That's how we structured our business, because we didn't have any money.
Any advice from the VC?
Those are the good answers.
Okay. Any other questions from the group? Okay, we're going to play fortune teller just for a moment. Just as you think about, looking out the next 12 months or even 24 months, just what are some of the big ideas that people are just now starting to work on that are interesting to you all? Just maybe give us a sense of what you're interested in.
I'm excited about vision technology right now in the livestock space that we're working in. It's a way to automate data more effectively, and since we're dependent on data to create insights and valuable actionable steps that take your business to the next level, we like anything that can bring us quick, effective, accurate data that we can ingest and pull in. And so there's a lot of great movement in that vision tech space. And then I think anything that really does automate data instead of having to input data of any sort is going to simplify people's lives and solve real saving time type challenges in the operations that we work with.
Yeah.
It's not sexy, but it's all the real problems that we're trying to solve.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm enthusiastic to see more autonomous robots in the ag running. So not just Solinf Tech robots, but I believe that agriculture needs a new wave because in the past we saw horses, large machines, different kind of the chemicals, different treatments in the seeds. I believe that we are in this new generation of the ag, and I'm one of the early adopters for technology, and I believe that this new wave about using robotics, using AI effectively in the field. It is what I expect in the next 12 months.
Robotics. Okay, interesting. How about you, Dennis?
These guys read my notes. I'm looking through the portfolio company list up here, trying to think, okay, how can I mention it? Because honestly, my first one was going to be robotics, and we've seen several interesting companies that, in an affordable way, to help the farmers and producers reduce costs, help them solve their labor problem, and maybe increase the information that's available for them to take some action. Even in one case, and this is a kind of hopefully a very odd incident, but one of our companies that makes robotic controls for some of their farm equipment actually saved the life of one of the farm workers when they were tracking a machine and realized that it had fallen over, and there was a worker on it when it fell over. They were able to get out there and help this injured worker. But you see them reducing costs and providing information, operational information to the company. I think that's huge. We're also seeing pretty exciting things in the livestock area as well. Breeding information to help breed for the traits that you need for cattle, for instance. And also just tracking and tracing food products all the way through the chain so that consumers can get the information they need. Cool stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to cost a whole lot for the users if you can design it well.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Karen.
I was sitting in the last session, and somebody at the end was like, we didn't even mention AI or machine learning in it, and we haven't really either, have we? But I think, in my perspective, we can talk about it, but there's some things we have to do before we can actually use it effectively in this space, because there's a lot of inaccuracy of data, and if we're going to start using it to make decisions to move our operations and the industry, to the next level, you better be making those with accurate information. And so we've got to get the data accuracy fixed first, then the automation, and then we can get to AI and machine learning.
Yeah. We've got just about a minute left here, and since Dennis claims that you all read his notes, let me give him a bonus question, which I'll give to you too as well. That was not provided beforehand. If you could pick one farm tool that describes your personality, what would it be?
Oh, wow.
One farm tool that describes your personality, what would it be? This is a question for each of you, but Dennis is going to go first.
Well, as a greedy venture capitalist who likes to make a lot of money, I got to go with the combine.
The combine.
I'm
Yeah,
harvesting.
that's a good pick. Yeah. Okay. Leo, go ahead. Yep.
Maybe a weather station, because if the climate change, many things change as well.
Interesting. Okay, weather station. Akari, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to stick with the dairy industry and go with the robot that pushes either the feed up or the manure up, because I like to clean things up and get things really effective. So the real robot pusher-upper.
Okay. I'm the moderator. I don't really have to pick one, but
what would you pick? Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this, and I would probably pick the Farmer's Almanac, which is so simple, but I'm a sucker for data, and I'm a sucker for I actually do still read it every now and then. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Anyways, thank you. Please give a round of applause for the panel.
Thank
you
you.
very much.